Hey, it's me, ezzB, and we are back with another video on Dragons B12, another weird team that I wanted to build. So I have been working on Dragons B12 teams for, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. Basically, I have been trying to promote use of more teams in more places and to try to help newer players maybe come up with some weird teams on their own. For these videos in the Dragons B12 specifically, I've been inspired by Bagel. I think it's the Schizophrenic Gamer is the channel name on YouTube. He is running a Dragons B12 contest for weird teams. So I made a team for a joke. You can, if you go to my channel, you can watch a video of. One video is just the run. And the other video is a longer video of me explaining how the team works and also making fun of myself for wasting time and building a team that has absolutely no use in Dragons B12 other than as a joke. So I also wanted to do a team that was actually like kind of serious. So obviously this team is not completely serious because you see here already that you've got 2 4-star units, a 5-star unit that's only level 3, and a 5-star unit that is just a 5-star unit. Let's go ahead and watch the run. Here, I did run it a couple times. It was safe every time that I ran it, but I only ran it like 5 or 6 times because, as you see, it's still a fairly long run. It takes about 10 minutes, but that's actually like short enough that we don't need to speed up the video. So what you'll notice here is pretty much all the monsters have 100% accuracy, and they're then also just basically like as fast as I could make them. So that was the goal of this team. I wanted to attack bar everybody, reduce attack bar on everything all the time, so nobody actually takes any turns except for my monsters, and I don't take any damage, and then I can win. So that mostly happens here. Typically, my run was failing until I max skilled the 2nd skill on the Vidurr, which turned out to be pretty crucial. But that was easy enough to do because it's only a 3-star monster with 3-star skill ups. Although I did feed a Skogul to the Vidurr, which is probably not the smartest use of a Skogul, but I've already built 3, so I just thought I don't want to build anymore. The way the team works and how I can get away with taking this wind unit into it is because there are only 2, although it's like a fire dungeon, there are actually only 2 monsters that are elemental fire in this entire dungeon. So one of them is here, which is the Zeros, the mid-boss, and the other is the final boss, the Legendary Dragon. Those are the 2 units that are elemental fire. Everything else, you'll notice, is this like golden color that isn't quite like a wind unit, isn't quite a light unit. It's actually called a pure elemental, and basically what that means is that it's like neutral to everything. So what that means is that we can take in wind units, and as long as they have an AoE attack bar control, which the Wuchi does, they will help control the trash waves and the crystals for the Legendary Dragon. So that's why Wuchi actually is a sneaky smart unit to use in this comp. And yeah, because the 3rd skill, attack bar reduces the entire enemies with 100% chance, so it can get resisted, but it works every time except for the resistance check. But it also has that additional beneficial effect of reducing the cooldown turns on your rest of your team, which is really handy. I really wanted to skill it up to get that 3rd skill max skill, but I just didn't have the fodder for it. or even the Devil Mods. If I had enough Devil Mods too, I actually may have thought about throwing them in there, which again, huge waste of resources, but that's what I'm here for, to waste resources on dumb teams that you probably shouldn't build anyway. So Wuchi, secretly, like an awesome unit for Dragon's B12. It also has an AoE attack bar reduction on skill 2 as well. And I think skill 2 maybe slows as well. I'll have to check, we'll check that afterwards. I didn't show the overall runes at the beginning, so we'll show those at the end. But I think the average speed on all of my runes is probably like 16, 17, 18. So, you know, doable, easy enough to get with blue or purple runes and blue grinds of speed. The other unit here that I think is also sneaky clutch is the Fire Giant, the Vidurr. And the reason why the Vidurr is so useful is Vidurr's skill 2, which cannot be resisted if the enemy has any harmful effects. Which is like so awesome, because basically what that means is you can control the dragon like no problem with just like one unit, right? This Vidurr will basically like make sure that this dragon never takes any turns, because it will get it to 0 every time, so it can't be resisted, and that is awesome. At least I don't think it can be resisted. Yeah, I don't think I've seen it resist yet. And I don't think it can. If it can be resisted, let me know. But even if it can be resisted, it still works like freaking awesome. Skill 1 also has a small attack bar reduction of 30% with a 50% chance. So like that's pretty useless on its own, but because it can help you out when your skill 2 is on cooldowns, I did decide to, again, keep it with that 100% accuracy. So Vidurr is probably a monster that you can actually get away with like really low accuracy and still be okay. So yeah, if you had to choose one monster on your team to have low accuracy on, maybe you're having a really difficult time getting an accuracy rune in slot 4 that has any speed on it, you know, just give Vidurr you know, any kind of speed rune in slot 4, and you know, if the accuracy on Vidurr is like 30s, 40s, it's probably still okay. The one thing where this team actually like really helps out as well, where Wuchi comes in handy, is Wuchi's skill 1 has an attack break and a glance. And what that means is that if the dragon ends up taking a turn, 1, you have a lot higher chance of surviving it if the dragon has glance on and attack break. But also, in the event that you manage to accidentally kill one of the towers before the dragon, it means that you have a much higher chance of surviving that automatic attack that the dragon has. So in some of my runs, I got lucky and I attack broke the dragon, but not the towers. It was great because I just killed the dragon first and it was easy. What looks like what's happening in this run is I am going to kill one of the towers first, but I will survive the dragon's counterattack because of the attack break and the glance. And so that comes from Wuchi, right? So Wuchi, like, all of its skills do something awesome or something useful against the dragon, right? Skill 1, you get the attack break and the glance. And because you have so many turns before the dragon's gonna hopefully get a chance to go, that you're gonna get those up there. Skill 2 reduces the attack bar of all enemies a little bit, which again is helpful. And then skill 3 we already talked about, AoE attack bar to 0, and ally cooldowns by 1 turn. So that isn't going to work as well against the dragon, but it's okay. It helps out everybody else. So yeah, look at that damage. Just a poke on Virad. Virad doesn't care. I'm pretty sure that with the glance and the attack attack break. The only monster here that wouldn't survive the dragon going after them would be the Wuchi. But again, if you 6-starred your Wuchi, or even like 5-starred it and, you know, was able to put like an HP rune in slot 2 or a defense rune in slot 2, you could probably survive one hit from the Revenge of the Dragon anyway. The only way this team fails is if the right crystal that puts up the immunity, if it goes off. If the dragon gets immunity, there are no cleansers on this team. So if immunity goes up, you are forked. But I don't think that's really in danger of that happening. Lapis provides some really nice help in that skill 1 is an AoE attack bar reduction, and skill 3 is an AoE attack bar reduction. So there are a couple times where the right tower got really, really close to going, and I was like, basically like crapping my pants because I was worried that was going to happen, and then my run would be ripped, and Lapis would come through and just reduce that attack bar like just a tiny bit, which then allowed like the Wuchi or the Vidurr to come in with a clutch AoE attack bar reduction. So this is the run. I didn't show the full rune, so I'm going to show that next. And if you stuck around this long, you might as well stick around to the end because I am going to include a clip from my Twitch stream where I was testing this on the very first run that cleared, where I am basically doing embarrassing things. So stick around for that. Let's go and check the runes. Okay, so let's go through just quickly the skill ups and runes of all the monsters, just to see, you know, how difficult they would be to build. So skill ups first for Tyrone, just 1 skill up here, but you know, obviously it doesn't get to the cooldowns on either skill 2 or skill 3. For the runes, I'm just going to go through super quickly. You can go and pause the video if you want it to go slower. And again, no artifacts on, I don't think I have artifacts on any of them. Next up, Lapis. So no skill ups for Lapis. Lapis is kind of a cool monster in that I think Lapis might be the only monster in the game that doesn't have any cooldowns on their skill 2 or skill 3. I think Comtoons obviously did that because they wanted to make it a super easy farming monster to use, which was kind of handy. So again, no artifacts, and these are the runes. Third, I believe, went the Vidurr. No artifacts. Oh yeah, skill ups. So I had to throw a ton of skill ups into the Vidurr in order to get it to the weak spot strike to have its cooldowns off. That's all that matters. If I had been lucky and I only put in 3 skill ups and they all went to the weak spot strike right off the bat, I would have stopped. This is so important. This effect can't be resisted if the enemy is granted with harmful effects. So that, like, whatever the resistance level is of the dragon, like 80% or 90% or like whatever the F it is, you don't have to worry about it, right? Yeah, so I just checked. It is 80% resistance on the legendary dragon, and it is 79% resistance on the Zayros. You put a harmful effect on either one of them, boom, 100% lockdown, right? So a fast enough or turn cycled enough Vidurr is going to guarantee that the Zayros and the legendary dragon aren't going to move. And then all you have to do is just AoE attack bar control the crystals, which is what you get with your Wuchi. You also do want to use the fire, whatever it is, the fire giant, the Vidurr, rather than the water one. The reason being, and the trick here, is that the fire giant has a passive hit skill here, so it's never like actively using this skill on a turn, which means it's only using skill 2 or skill 1. And I think the AI means that whenever skill 2 is up, it uses that skill every time, which is like awesome, right? If you use the water monster, if you make that mistake because you're thinking that the elemental advantage is going to make you run faster, you're wrong. The water unit has a third skill, which is not useful, and there will be times where both skill 2 and skill 3 are up off of cooldowns, and it will choose skill 3, and that potentially could ruin your run. So use Vidurr, the fire giant, not the water one. Forget about elemental advantage. It's not the way to go. So here are the runes, and I don't think these runes are particularly fast. These aren't the fastest runes that I could put on my monsters, but they are close to the fastest runes that also had 100% accuracy. So I didn't use an optimizer. If I did use an optimizer, then potentially I could have had this whole team to be even faster. But I'm okay with it. One, because it works, and it does mean that it's maybe a little more attainable for people whose rune quality is only as good as mine, or even like worse. I think it's still possible. And actually, because the units that I want to go first are so slow that it means that I was actually able to get the speeds that I needed on my units that I wanted to go at the end of the turn order. Could be slower, and they actually end up being slow enough that I was able to put violent runes on them instead. But I do think that you can get away with speed runes, and especially if you're max skilling units. So Virad is max skilled. So Virad is the only monster here that's like actually built. I did put a special build on him in terms of runes to make this run work. These aren't just my everyday Virad runes. Although currently I've kept them on Virad, so maybe I'll continue to do that. And yeah, these are the runes. So 26 speed runes I don't expect everybody to have. But again, if you switch this over to Swift, you can get this speed with like 10 speed, 15 speed. And then last but not least, the Wuchi, which the Wuchi, honestly, like it would be amazing if you could scale it down, right? So attacks all enemies 2 times with a sandstorm to increase the attack by 30%, with a 30% chance each. So that probability rate is not great, but it's not nothing. And it's 2 chances, so it makes it a little bit, it's a higher likelihood that at least one of them will hit. And again, because the left and right towers are pure elemental, you don't have to worry about elemental disadvantage and glancing or any of that garbage. But this is the skill that is really awesome. Attacks all enemies playing the magic flute and sets their attack bar to 0. So notice how it doesn't say like with any sort of percentage, right? That's like also kind of the key there. And then in addition, it decreases the skill cooldown time of all allies by 1 turn each. And lastly, the runes for the Wuchi. And no artifacts. So that's it for the video. Thank you so much. Please get into the comments. Let me know what you think. Is this potentially a team that is worth considering? If you can't really start building the Tricaro yet, or does it still require, too high of a rune quality, too many skill ups, and so therefore you're just better off, toughing it out in other dungeons until you can farm Tricaro. And as a bonus, guys, I don't know why I'm including this in the video, but I recorded my first playthrough with this team that was successful on a Twitch stream, and so yeah, well, anyway, let's just say there's a disclaimer on the video, and yeah, you've been warned. I don't want to get like, this is looking so good, but I don't want to get like too hyped because I don't want to get too hyped. kind of want to get height. I mean, at least if something goes wrong, the dragon has like attack break and glance up. But this is looking so clean right now. This is looking so freaking clean right now. Oh my God. Come on. Come on. No, don't. Oh my God. Come on. Come on. I cannot believe that worked. I cannot believe that worked. I cannot believe that worked.